So we are Advanced Sculpture on May the 4th, hence my Starry Stormtrooper shirt. Even if it is a little chilly in the basement for a t-shirt, but hey. We are looking at paper mache sculptures, and you guys already know the basis of how to build and what to do. So I'm going to skip the big chunk of that. I'm going to give a couple of reminders. Reminder one, it doesn't have to all be made out of newspaper. So you can use cardboard inside of it. You can also use the paper mache, and we were just talking about this in sculpture, like if you have a baseball, if you wrap the baseball with saran wrap, you can paper mache. So I put my hand in the goo, I put it over the saran wrap, and then I put the newspaper into that. It's going to help you paper mache that object, and then you can just cut it, pop out the baseball, and you're good to go. That's going to save you time. Second thing, make sure that when you're paper macheing, you're alternating layers. So one layer going one direction, next layer going into the next one, and that weave will help kind of strengthen it. You don't actually have to weave them together. That'd be doing the utmost, because we're not dealing with something that needs to have that extra binding strength to it. Know your armature, your internal supports. How's your weight going through your piece, and how is it going to stand or hold its own shape inside of it? We could be doing abstract. That's up to you guys. You could be doing realistic. I do want to go through, and I want to say we're only going to go to paper mache finish with this, because it's unfair to think that everyone has paint and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that you're finished. Your paper mache part doesn't have to look, doesn't have to just be plain. So if you align your paper, the colored part of the paper correctly, you can do patterns. So we're gonna look at some sculptures today. And okay, get everything situated. So when we look at this little flamingo here, to me, this is all still exposed newspaper. Probably a light layer of spray paint, and then maybe a little bit of painting on the side of it. But easily you could look for advertisements and get all your pinks and red advertisements, save them. You could get a bunch of black magazine, or you could use your Sharpie to Sharpie some of these edges. One thing that kind of gets me about this one, I mean, this is a beautiful piece. It's awesome. It's standing on two legs. The web toes spread out helps it distribute its weight. It's carrying its weight all the way from the head to the core of the body and into the legs. So very well designed. The only thing that gets me is no wings. 3D things, we should have 3D things on them. I like this guy. Has a really nice texture to it. And to me, that's done definitely when you put on that last layer of paper, they kind of scrunch it up a little. But this has been painted. We don't have to do painted. All right, I don't want to go there. I hit the wrong button. So we're going to pop over to this guy. This one I thought was cool because they made it into a lamp. So the nice thing about the paper mache is thin layers of paper mache. And now with the advent of LEDs, you can get pretty low heat. So heat doesn't become an issue. And you can make a paper mache lamp. All of this in here could be easily like cardboard tubes. And you have sealed wire that goes all the way down. Just leave a little hole for the wire to come out the base, where you have your plug and your lamp, and then you could hide your light switch wherever you wanted. But those are kind of cool looking little guys that I saw. So that was another idea. Thinking beyond just the basics. This rhino laying down so he doesn't have to worry about support. Probably a bit too big for our scale, but really thought that, you know, some interesting things. So, I mean, I want to use this to say, we're not making something this big. You guys only have until the 15th, and then you're done. And if we look, this is in somebody's garage. I mean, heck, it looks like the size of a car. good idea using cardboard, and they have it slotted and grooved to kind of make up the core of it, and then paper mache over it, but that's gigantic. So we're not going that big. I thought these guys were kind of fun looking. They're more cartooned in their design. These kind of sleek, light appendages. Again, 3 points of contact make this easy. The cat sitting gives it an easy point of contact, and we can still tell they're cats even though they're really cartoony. Things that I don't like about this, I would want 3D eyes. I like how the tongue comes out. I like how the nose is added on. Why the person doesn't make eyes, I don't know, because I just think it would be that much better. We're dealing with sculpture. We should have 3D elements inside of our sculpture. Masks. Masks are very viable. Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. This is just a molded plastic mask. Blink. Your mask, again, we're only going to get it to the newspaper stage, but you want to have you want it to be a cool design. You want to think of how's it going to wear, how's it going to stay on. Would it be a band? Is it something that goes over the top of the head? Is it a full head mask? Is it just for the face? And then you want to make sure that you have those questions answered. Size in that, I'm more interested in detail and showing me off your artistic level. So this mask here with these nice little add-ons and things, definitely worth your time. This guy here has 4 points of contact, and possibly we could use like the undulating body for contact. Really cool scales, but in the time frame we have, these scales, I would think those scales alone are going to take a week to do. So I would want to make sure that it's something small enough that I could build it and get all this done in my 2 weeks of build time that I have. I also think that it would have been neat if, like, I like how the tail curls around, but if it was kind of twisty a little instead of flat planed. So here we have a front plane, we have a side plane. It would be neat if it undulated back and forth and up and down. I think just in that. So it's a really great detail. These are kind of weird, freaky looking ones. Really elongated appendages, just kind of scary faces. Just weird sort of looks. We found these today. They're using the colored sections of the newspaper to actually fill in and finish off the sculpture. And I mean, it comes out with a nice kind of cool look to it, and you don't have to paint it. Of course, if we look at Dan the Monster Man, he does beautiful, highly detailed sculptures. This is showing you with all the lights on and everything to it. But this is just a wall mount, very easy to do. You could also make this into, what am I trying to say? This could be a headdress, something that would go over your head, like maybe you look out through here, or this would actually come down and this part would be the mask and this would come down your front. So something to think about. Doesn't have to be scary, doesn't have to be creepy. The little dog balancing the treat. I really like the chicken. I don't know why I like the chicken so much. I mean, I like the fact that the person, instead of just having the head go straight forward, they've got it looking to the side. Really nice sized feet. Probably could have turned them a little bit and it would still give you the same amount of balance. Really cool kind of tail. I wish it had a wing, but overall, it's kind of neat. You don't have to buy googly moogly eyes, those little shaky eyes. You can make your own little eyeballs. But again, this has some really cool things. They've got the eyes separate from the body. They stick off the front. We have our little beak in here. Just little nudges for wings. Kind of reminds me of like a Mr. Potato Head. So this guy likes to do these birds. And again, a lot of this is how he finishes and does the paint to it. and you could look into and see a little bit more about them. Um, I kind of wonder if they're plastered so that they get a really hard coating, smooth surface to it. But little things like this, those are cool. How you are going to have your creature stand, or if it's not a creature, if it's just abstract, what is it going to be? How's it going to move? How's it going to hold space? We want to think about those things. So that's this one. Again, don't go too big. I mean, this is amazingly cool. And when it's done, it looks like that. And this is a person. We just want to make sure we don't go this big. Because again, if you can do that by the 15th, I think you're getting an A. I've used the octopus a couple of times just because I like it. And when she holds it in front of her head, it looks gigantic. But here you can see, you know, it's a little bit bigger than hand size. So those are very easy possibilities that we can do. Now, something like this, it's gigantic. There's no way. But it's hanging from the ceiling, and the angle, it's probably not as big as we think. The little twisty arms here aren't bad, but it really doesn't give us a feeling of like the suction cups on it. Again, those look like maybe those are simple eyes, but they're on. Everything's nice and kind of neat. This little scalloping in between the little membrane, that looks kind of nice. Much more reasonable size elephant. So you don't do the garage elephant, you can do a little guy. Level of realism, that's up to you guys completely. I want you to make something that is going to be successful for you. So if that's something where it's really light and thin and you want to try to use some tissue paper to create it, or you're going to make something kind of funky dory, something that's semi-abstract but kind of realistic, or you're going to make like these peoples, which I know you've talked about. I like the little one in the little kind of woven basket. That's kind of cool. The little dogs, again, using the paper to make the finishing for it. It's a cool idea. So we don't have to have it all painted. I mean, it'd be nice to be able to have it all painted, but we don't have to have it all painted. It doesn't have to be realistic. It can be abstract in its existence. And know your size, and then know your level of detail. So something like this, I mean, that's a lot of work, especially just the face alone to get that correct. And then the hair would be a separate piece to me. The clothes, not as hard to do. Probably like a thick, you know, I would almost do an aluminum foil, maybe folded over on itself, and then paper mache the aluminum foil and bend it into place. Use the aluminum as the armature. These little things, you know, paper mache legs, and then just a double coat of newspaper that just kind of gently folds around. You might put a little something in here, take a little bit of saran wrap, roll it up, stick it, and then when it's dry, you pull that out. So I know we have talked about, you said something about you kind of like the paper mache like peoples. Something like this is really cool. And it makes me sad because in the back storeroom, I have a whole bunch of old books that they're going to send to the recycler. And we could make things like that, which is kind of cool. But those books are sealed away for now. Implication. So it's just the dress, just the shoes, but it gives you the feeling that the ballerina is there. So make your sketches, know what you want to make, and then give me a scale in with your sketches, and then we'll start putting it together. And I just want to make sure that this week we should be, by Wednesday, we should have sketches turned in, and we should know what we're going to make. and then we can actually start like making parts by Wednesday. That would give us all of this week to make parts. Next Monday, start to assemble parts. By next Wednesday, so I want to make sure I'm looking at my time frame right. By next Wednesday, that's the 13th, we're getting to that finishing stage. And then by the 15th, it's done, and I can turn in I can take my pictures all the way around, and I can turn it in. And that should be our time frame.
Sounds good.
Cool. For you guys, it's more about showing off your skill, and making something that is appealing to you, than it is me giving you dimensions and sizes and saying, hey, build this, do this. For anybody who's not a senior or other person, you're going to have, we're going to look at the 20th of next week. So seniors, 15th is the last day to start something new. I'm not starting something new. We're just going to do this. And then you guys have until the 20th to turn these in. And then after that, I will go through and finish up grades so that way we know for graduation. So if I look, did I close the tab? Boop. Sometimes I wonder about myself. Okay, so we have cardboard creatures, wireframe trees, wax clay busts, paper mache, and if you can put everything in a portfolio, the portfolio is due the 20th. And basically, that's just all the pictures you've been taking put in together. And then juniors, you'll have one more thing. So seniors, you'll see something, but it won't be due until after. It'll be due like the 22nd, so you won't have to do that. Cool. All right. Any questions, Sarah?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Well then, we will stop this.